spot here in the center of Fort Ord in the Bureau of Land Management, our newest monument perhaps in the United States, certainly here in California. It's a great privilege today to be able to introduce to you a senator who is one of the most effective senators in all of the 100 senators of the United States Senate, a person whose passion is in California and has done probably more to create open space and preservation of lands, and fight for the working class, and really understands the connection here between environmental preservation and jobs. We were just shown some roads that were done in here with the stimulus money that we were allowing communities and governments to have to do infrastructure development. But I just want to say that this Fort Ord transfer, this land that the military occupied since 1919 until leaving it and then going through the transfer process, is one of the remarkable experiences of the modern era of government. When you think about it, it's probably 28,000 acres, about the size of the city of San Francisco, transferred without cost, in most cases, to local governments. It's the largest land transfer since the westward expansion in the 1870s. And it's now up to these local communities to decide how to use it. What I think is a wonderful ability of for in its first place of having the mayors of all the local communities surrounding the property involved, the public being involved in a public process that allows for planning and land use, an openness, a transparency that is unlike most land development, a lot of ideas on the table, being able to put the parks along the dunes there all in permanent preservation and open space, and a trail to go around the National Marine Sanctuary, to open that all up to public access and family access, and then the hills here and the mountains here to be preserved as well in a monument status, is really unique. There aren't places anywhere in the United States that have had the opportunity to do as much in preservation of open space, because this area sells open space. I mean, that is why you come here to visit. Yes, you can do other things in golf and surf and go to a lot of festivals, including the road race. In fact, when Secretary Salazar was here, there was a road race going on over the hills and drowning out the noise here, the speeches. But we have all these diversified uses, and when you think about it, this has all been under sort of the public domain. It's not privately owned land where the private sector can decide, and you just go out and do it, hire the contractor and the developer and do what you want. This required a complicated process. It starts with federal law and federal appropriations, and that process requires a bicameral two-house process, and it requires, in that complicated system that we're both serving in, incredible leadership, the leadership to get jobs done, to get things done. A lot of ideas running around Congress. Very hard to put together a majority vote for those ideas and get it done in both houses. And I can't think of anybody more effective in being able to do that. Having served, we met when we were both in local governments as the county supervisors. Barbara was struggling as a county supervisor in Marin County with the Hamilton Air Force Base, which had been closed long before Fort Ord was closed, and all of the consequences of that. She got elected to the House of Representatives from the Board of Supervisors, and then to the United States Senate. So she is a woman of local government, by local government, and for this process that we're now involved in. And she's also a champion in the United States Senate at getting things done. A lot of the great jobs in this area and the teamwork that we have been able to produce. In fact, now the teamwork of getting more jobs created through the establishment of Pinnacles as a national park is in the Senate, and I know she's going to get it done. But with a great deal of joy, happiness, and friendship, I want to give her a warm Monterey Peninsula welcome for our Senator, Barbara Boxer.
Oh, thanks. Well, I got my box, so I can really step up. I am so excited to be here. I can't tell you. It's not just that I'm out of Washington, D.C., where there is more hot air than I've ever seen in many ways. But just to be here and to see the fruits of some of the work that Sam and I have done, and Senator Feinstein and the whole California delegation, and all of you. I want to say, just before I leave the subject of Sam Farr, how fortunate you are to have such a great congressman, and I want to hear it for him. Right. There is no one I know who feels with so much passion the importance of preserving the beauty of this county and this area and of this history, this unique history. As a matter of fact, Sam is such kind of a non-stop historian when we're in the van. And he said, you see this road? This is where the Spanish came and they set up Monterey. That on this road, they walked on this road. And that kind of spirit is infectious. And when Sam calls me, I just say, what do you need? What do you want? And let's go for it. And so our next project is Pinnacles, and we'll get it done. It's sort of a mess getting things through the Senate. It's messier than making sausage, but we'll get it done. I have to say, from the bottom of my heart, how much Sam and I appreciate the Obama administration and what they did here by executive order. This sign, Fort Ord National Monument, would not be here but for the executive order. We asked for it, we pushed for it, but we had a president who did it. We didn't have a president who said, you know what, I think we'll open this up to the developers, because as Sam says, jobs are directly related to tourism. There's no doubt about it. We ran into some folks who were walking here that just are in love with this area. And that's why we make the economic argument to preserve our coastline. When we stand up to big oil, is we make the economic argument when we argue for such designations as this one. Sam reminded me also in the car of the experience that I had so many years ago with Hamilton Air Force Base and the struggles that we had. It was messy to get it done, and it's still, you know, messy. Presidio, we built on our experience when I got to the Congress, and we were able to save the Presidio. So by the time we get to this, we already had been bruised from those other battles, and Sam knew the best way to move was to organize from the grassroots up. And so I would say to the mayors and the city council people who are here, would you raise your hands, mayors and council members and supervisors and any other electeds? We want to applaud you. Thank you. Now, this site will forever remain a place to honor those who bravely served our nation, and a place for veterans and visitors to enjoy the scenic beauty of our great state. This national monument designation was a grassroots effort, and it shows that great things can be accomplished when we work together. The local veterans community, particularly the Veterans Voice Foundation, raise your hand, our veterans who are here. Please raise your hands. Thank you. We thank you for your service. We honor your service, and I want to say Veterans Voice Foundation and VFW 5888 came together with the Conservation Lands Foundation, the Wilderness Society, the Sierra Club, the Fort Ord Reuse Authority to make this designation a reality. This doesn't happen just because one person says do it. It takes a tremendous amount of organization, and we all know Sam Farr's leadership in this. We all know that Fort Ord originated as a military training center, a deployment staging ground. It saw more than 1.5 million soldiers through basic training from World War I through Operation Desert Storm. And during the Vietnam War, it was a primary staging ground for deployment. When the base closed in '94, about 15,000 acres of public land were set aside to be managed by the BLM. Now, the BLM is here with us today. Will you raise your hands? Thank you. We thank you for all your work, because you had a job to do, because this area is covered in coastal scrub and coast live oak and grasslands. It's home to 35 species of rare plants and animals, including mountain lions. Oh, you didn't mention that. Black-tailed deer, bobcats, golden eagles, and the endangered Smith's blue butterfly. Surrounded by this majestic landscape, it's no surprise why 100,000 people visit this site every year. They come to understand the history of the lands, to hike, to bike, and ride horses on the 86 miles of trails. A couple of trails were built and finished, and roads, because of the stimulus funding. So I wanted to mention that in case Mitt Romney is listening. Yes, we put people to work with that bill and with that effort. And they want, of course, seek the enjoyment of the beautiful open space. So here's the deal. According to Department of Interior, more than 25 million people have visited public lands in California so far this year. This tourism spurs local economies. It helps local businesses thrive. It attracts new businesses to the region. According to the Outdoor Industry Foundation, outdoor recreation in California contributes $46 billion each year and supports 408,000 jobs. So when people tell you, oh, they don't really want to have designations like this, they don't want to save the coast because it's bad for business, the opposite is true. This is great for business. It's clean business, it's beautiful business, and that's what we want. So we know that our next job is Pinnacles National Monument, a beautiful landscape. We're going to make sure that's a park because Sam Farr will never leave me alone until it happens. And I promised him, and I will keep the promise. We almost had it the last day of session, and then some anonymous individual Republican put a hold on it, and we don't know who it is, but we will find out. And we will change that person's mind, even if we have to drag him or her out here, because it's so spectacular. Pinnacles has seen an increase in recreation visits each year for the past 5 years, and we know we're going to do it. So look, here we are. This is a great day for me. It's a great day for me because sometimes, you know, I just don't have the chance to get out and see some of the work that I've done and just move on to the next thing. But I'm here today. I'm thrilled to be here with Sam. Sam, why don't you come forward? We're happy to take any questions.